It's not. Like I said, I said what I said on social media. There's this stupid number of 61 that was going around. That's basically the cable number by itself. So the total number is, and if you know anything, cable is a fraction, not even close to 50%. You can do the math, and we're not at 200, but this would be his second biggest behind Rolly, which was his biggest. Okay.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So what you just heard was the voice of Showtime President of Sports, Stephen Espinoza, and he was discussing the pay-per-views by superstar, undefeated, three-division world champion who simultaneously held the WBA super title at super featherweight, the WBA regular title at lightweight, the WBA regular title at junior welterweight, superstar boxer, as I stated, Gervonta Tank Davis, 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 26 big wins by way of knockout. He is 28 years of age, 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. With that said, Gervonta Tank Davis is viewed as a cash cow, pay-per-view cow, and a superstar within the sport of boxing. And Stephen Espinoza, he just recently explained on Chicken Talk, shouts out to Chicken Talk on YouTube. You can hear this interview in its totality on YouTube at Chicken Talk. And Stephen Espinoza, he stated that Gervonta Tank Davis, his latest fight with then undefeated WBA super featherweight world champion Dominican star boxer Hector Garcia, that took place January 7th in Washington, D.C. at the Capital One Arena, that did a sold out venue. It did a sold out gate. Okay. It broke a record. It reportedly did 5.2 million at the gate. Okay. Which is the second time Gervonta Tank Davis has broke a gate record. He did so the first time when he faced off against lightweight then undefeated lightweight star, or should I say superstar title contender, Rolando Rolly Romero, okay, who had never fought for a world title and obviously has never won the world title. Rolly Romero came in a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis with 14 wins, no loss, no draw, 12 wins by way of knockout at 26 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. That was May 28th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York of 2022. And Gervonta Tank Davis once again broke the record, a $5 million gate at the Barclays Center, okay? So with that said, Stephen Espinoza, as you heard, he stated that his biggest pay-per-view event was his showdown with Rolly Romero, who many people didn't view as worthy of a fight with Gervonta Tank Davis on pay-per-view, seeing as though he never fought for a world title and never been a world champion, only had 14 fights, and he had a questionable win against Jackson Marinez when many people thought that Jackson Marinez actually won that fight. Nonetheless, Rolando Rolly Romero is a huge mouthpiece and he can sell a fight for sure. And in this fight with Hector Garcia, he states that Gervonta Tank Davis didn't do 200,000 pay-per-views. Okay, there's reports that came out that he did 400,000 pay-per-views. There was some people saying he did 350,000 pay-per-views. There was some people saying he did 60,000 pay-per-views. Okay, so as high as 400,000 and as low as 60,000 pay-per-views. Okay, is what people have been reporting. But Stephen Espinoza, he said that was higher than 61, but it wasn't higher than 200,000. And he stated his biggest pay-per-view, was against Rolly Romero, who he did a reported 250 to 275,000 pay-per-views. Okay. Now, when you look at the landscape of the sport of boxing, okay, when you look at undefeated three-division world champion, superstar boxer, who's the WBO welterweight world champion, Terrence Bud Crawford is viewed as the number one best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and he typically does about 150,000 pay-per-views, okay? And he's viewed as not being a major pay-per-view seller. And then you have Errol Spence Jr., who's the undefeated unified three-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered to be number two, if not number one, top 5 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. His lowest pay-per-view was 315,000, and yet he's still not viewed as a major pay-per-view star. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis, the difference is the gates, right? He sells out wherever he goes. But I've never seen Errol Spence not sell out wherever he went. And I also never seen Terrence Crawford not sell out most of the venues that he went to. Okay? So with that said, especially when Terrence Crawford is at home. Now, Terrence Crawford is not the rolling rock star that Gervonta Tank Davis is. He can take his show anywhere he so chooses on the road, and he's going to sell out the arena, right? But this just goes to show a glimpse into the piracy within the sport of boxing, because Gervonta Tank Davis is everything you ask for. Okay, he's a one-punch knockout artist. Okay, he sells his fights. He lives up to the billing. He's exciting, and yet he's not doing the pay-per-view numbers he should do. Right? That is the piracy within the sport of boxing. And it's ironic because many people view Gervonta Tank Davis on the verge of becoming the face of the sport of boxing. But Errol Spence's lowest pay-per-view is reported to be $315,000 with Davis-Garcia. Okay? And Tank's highest pay-per-view is reported to be about $275,000. So that means, Errol Spence is doing bigger pay-per-view numbers. But again, it's the piracy within the sport of boxing. Now, that leads me to this mega fight with Gervonta Tank Davis and his fight with undefeated lightweight junior welterweight Mexican superstar title contender King Ryan Garcia, who has a record of 23 wins, no loss, no draw. He has 19 wins by way of knockout. He's 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach, okay? That brings me to this fight because there seems to be some sort of snag, okay? That there's a rematch clause that the zone, because Ryan Garcia is signed to retired legendary Olympic gold medalist, 6th division world champion, Mexican-American superstar boxer, in Oscar the Golden Boy De La Hoya, Oscar De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions, and the zone. Okay, so he has an obligation to the zone, that being Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy, and Oscar De La Hoya owns essentially the rights to Ryan Garcia. Okay, so there's a one-way rematch clause that's being reported that apparently Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't even want. The fight is supposed to take place April 15th in Las Vegas. So rematch clause that Gervonta Tank Davis is not even looking and interested in making and happen, according to reports, right? But the networks, they want this to be in place, this rematch clause. So with that said, it's being stated that if Ryan Garcia wins the fight, they don't want Ryan Garcia to be the lead A-side in this negotiations, okay, in a rematch. So it's being reported that Showtime wants to be in charge in the rematch, okay, should Ryan Garcia win the fight. Now, here's where it gets tricky, because Steven Espinoza, he stated that he expects this fight to exceed 750,000 pay-per-views. He expects it to exceed the fight that Canelo Alvarez had with Caleb Plant for Undisputed. He expects it to do bigger than that fight, which reportedly did 750,000 pay-per-views. So if you expect that fight to do more than 750,000 pay-per-views, then that means you expecting Ryan Garcia to carry a major load in this fight. Because if Gervonta Tank Davis' biggest pay-per-view to date is 275,000, and you expecting it to do at least 400,000 more than that, well then you would have to attest to that to Ryan Garcia, which means if Ryan Garcia wins this fight against Gervonta Tank Davis, he's well in his rights to have this fight staged on his network. Not that he wants it to be or cares where it's staged, because as long as his check clears and he's in the ring with Gervonta Tank Davis, I highly doubt that Ryan Garcia nor Gervonta Tank Davis truly care outside their loyalty where this fight, on what network it takes place, as long as their check clear and they fight each other for their legacy and bragging rights. So that means if you expect it to exceed 750,000 pay-per-views, let's say it does 800,000 pay-per-views, and Gervonta Tank Davis's biggest biggest pay-per-view is 275,000. That means Ryan Garcia accounted for 525,000 pay-per-views, right? If it does 850,000 pay-per-views or 800,000 pay-per-views, right? So with that said, then it's only right that if you expect it to exceed that number, then that means Ryan Garcia carried a major part of this fight. And that means if he does win this fight, he absorbs the star status and the status of accomplishments Gervonta Tank Davis had in the sport, along with his social media following. Then he deserves, or dare I say, the zone who's been backing him and financing Ryan Garcia and supporting him, they deserve to have the ball in their court in a rematch, because that means he's just as big of a star as Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, he's never headlined in a big way a pay-per-view card, right? Gervonta Tank Davis has been there. He sells out every arena. But nonetheless, if he's going to eclipse by far his biggest pay-per-view number, by far, 3 times the amount, okay, then that means Ryan Garcia played a major part in him doing so. And that means Ryan Garcia deserves, should he be victorious, to have the rematch. It shouldn't be a problem with DAZN being the lead promoter in the rematch and it being aired on DAZN, because now they hold the keys. They hold the A side. They hold the mega superstar who's proven. And Ryan Garcia apparently doesn't even want or care about a rematch clause, and neither does Gervonta Tank Davis. So this is a ploy by the networks to make sure they secure their future and their bag, right? So again, this should not be a hurdle. If you expect it to exceed 750,000 pay-per-views, then this should not be a hurdle, because if you can say that Gervonta Tank Davis's biggest pay-per-view was his fight with Rolly, where he did 275,000, and then it took a dip against Hector Garcia and did less than 200,000. That means he did less than, let's say it did a hair under 200,000. Well, that means he did 75,000 less pay-per-views than his previous fight. That's a major dip. A major dip. Now, Errol Spence went from 350,000 pay-per-views with Mikey to 315,000 with Danny, right? Okay, so that's about a 35,000 pay-per-views dip. But Gervonta Tank Davis dipping from 75,000 pay-per-views to under 200,000 is a huge dip. And if you're expecting it to exceed 750,000 pay-per-views, then that means Ryan Garcia is playing a major part. That means we should not have an issue with getting this fight, and it should be announced ASAP. Because Ryan Garcia, then we know he carries his weight in a big way. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.